One of the world's largest automakers, General Motors.
We're executing, we're launching.
Despite a slowdown in EV sales across all brands, CEO Mary Barra says,
we're committed to this technology, getting it right, and offering the consumer something that's going to make their life better.
All right, I'm driving?
Yeah, you're driving.
GM, known for its production of powerful car engines, has just dropped another bombshell. The ZZ632 Big Block V8, an engine so powerful that's sending shockwaves through the car industry. This isn't just another kind of engine or upgrade. It's a revolution that could force competitors back to base. GM's CEO called it a game changer.
Is GM still looking to be all electric by 2035?
For our light-duty vehicles, yes, and we'll be guided by the consumer, but the plans that we have in place will get us there.
That could redefine the capability of car engines. Why is the entire automotive world at the edge? Join us as we reveal everything about this new engine that might change the rules on the road and leave competitors for dead. History of GM engines. General Motors is known to be one of the world's largest automobile makers. It has been in the forefront of automobile technology for over 100 years. Since the inception, GM's had a clear vision, which was to push the boundaries of engineering, design, and to develop cars that not only meet customers' needs, but also define the future of the automobile world. General Motor engines have moved from the early days of carburetors and mechanical valves to more complicated, precision-engineered machines that we see these days. The brand had always been related to power, reliability, and outstanding technology. They've produced some of the most iconic and sought-after car engines in the industry. For example, the Chevrolet Small Block V8 was the game changer in the 1950s. It was the new standard which stood for performance, durability, and efficiency of fuel. General Motors is also the home of cars like the Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. Now, to the engine that is being talked about by the General Motors CEO, something spectacular that is sending shivers down the spine of the car industry is on the horizon.
It's a company that has its roots in the 19th century, but the current CEO of General Motors, Mary Barra, is clearly driven to prove this isn't your grandfather's GM. She takes a spin with Chris Van Cleve.
It promises to outshine and outperform all that came before him. Let's take a look at this wonder engine. The ZZ632 V8 isn't just another engine, but a game changer that represents a progressive leap forward that shows a shift in automotive design, its performance and creativity. It isn't just big in size, but powerful, pushing out an unbelievable 1,004 horsepower and 876 lb-ft of torque. The engine is a piece of modern engineering work, which was created to deliver an incredible level of performance on the road. What exactly makes ZZ632 Block V8 special? Well, General Motor engineers have incorporated powerful materials and precision manufacturing steps that were reserved for racing engines, which elevated the powerhouse to a performance level that was thought to be unreachable in production cars. Whether you're talking about its incredible speed, its powerful sound, or smooth yet thrilling power delivery, the ZZ632 Block V8 promises to redefine what drivers expect from their respective engines. But here's the question. What if this engine could actually destroy the whole car industry? What if this technological wonder has the potential to make every car outside there feel not up to standard? Let's see why it isn't just about horsepower, but about a change and shift in automotive engineering. This brings us to undoubtedly the most important aspect, which are the key features of the ZZ632 Big Block V8 engine. Features of ZZ632 V8 block engine.
This is also the highest horsepower one we've uncrated back here. We've done the Ford Godzilla. This is the Chevrolet Performance ZZ632 1000. This thing makes 1,000 horsepower.
The ZZ632 Big Block V8 engine is loaded with astonishing features that makes it a difference maker in the automotive world. To put its horsepower and torque into perspective, it's more than just having power, but having the right kind of power. The engine provides instant throttle response, which makes it fit for everything from drag racing to high-level performance street driving. The kind of power it possesses makes every moment feel electric behind the wheel. Also, its engine is built with a kind of precision that you would expect from a top-level performance engine. General Motors has made use of advanced materials like aluminum alloy to reduce its weight while maintaining its awesome usability. Every part of the engine, from the camshaft to the pistons, is carefully built to make sure that it can cope with harsh conditions without a drop in performance. Mr. Russ O'Bleans, the General Motors Director of Performance and Racing Propulsion Team, said, "The ZZ632 V8 block engine is still their biggest and baddest ever crate engine they've ever produced." He reiterated that the ZZ632 sits at the top of their unparalleled crate engine lineup. The engine delivers incredible power, as it does it on pump gas. The ZZ632 Big Block V8 is said to reach its peak power at 6,600 RPM and revolutions at a recommended maximum of 7,000 RPM. Its fuel is delivered by 8 port injectors, with the engine breathing through CNC-machined high-flow aluminum cylinder heads that feature symmetrical ports. While big blocks have been traditionally designed with variations in port shape from cylinder to cylinder, all the 8 intake ports of ZZ632 V8 engine have the same length, volume, and layout. All its exhaust ports are similar, thereby ensuring all cylinders produce the same power. Another standout feature of ZZ632 engine block V8 is its modular design. General Motors engineers have made the engines to be easily adapted to a wide range of different vehicle platforms, which ranges from high-performance street cars to racing machines. This flexibility has opened up a new world of possibilities for both engineers and car lovers.
Great big lump of news coming out of the race shop here, and when I say big, I mean it in every sense. Big cubes, big power, and big size.
ZZ632 Block V8 possesses an electric fuel injection system that enables perfect fuel delivery and efficiency. This system aids optimal combustion and provides both performance and fuel economy. General Motors has managed to balance effectively both eco-friendliness and fuel efficiency, which are just as important as power. With General Motors' unrelenting pursuit of innovation, the ZZ632 V8 could be a waymaker for future engines that would be more powerful and more efficient. It's safe to say that it's going to be more environmentally friendly than ever before. The impact, what it means for the industry. The ZZ632 Big Block V8 engine is not just a new one, but a custodian of a new era in the automotive world. With the level of power, precision, and adaptability that it possesses, this engine has the capacity to outperform its rivals and leave them in the dust, making them struggle to catch up. In an industry where performance and fuel economy are the two opposing forces, General Motors has been able to put them both together without stress. They have proven that it is possible to have an engine that can deliver high power without eliminating efficiency. This could be the springboard for the whole industry-wide shift, one which other automakers may need to rethink how they approach the design of engine, fuel economy, and performance. But here's the catch. The real question is not just whether General Motors will subdue the industry with this engine, it's whether all other producers will have to rethink their whole approach to the design of automotive. Could this be the engine that would force competitors to blend or risk becoming outdated? Will the ZZ632 V8 engine transform the industry? The bigger picture is much more compelling, as it is very easy to get caught up in the excitement of the groundbreaking engine. The ZZ632 V8 engine could be a pointer to a shift towards a new kind of the car, where power, efficiency, and environmental responsibility ceases to coexist mutually and exclusively. This could be the engine that propels General Motors into a new era of automotive engineering. The possibilities are endless. If other automakers are not paying close attention, they should be, as this is not just about a company or an engine, but an industry that shifts wide and could change all we know about the future of cars. While the ZZ632 V8 engine is an impressive statement, it's also a reflection of the mindset that General Motors had adopted.
Starting this November, General Motors is putting over 1,400 people out of work. A GM plant in Kansas is making room for an overhaul.
That is, to never settle for the less. and to always push the boundaries of possibilities. Car enthusiasts and consumers can only wonder what General Motors will next unveil. The innovation that General Motors is leading could have ripple effects, cutting across every aspect of our lives, changing our way of thinking about transportation, sustainability, and the future of movement. General Motors has once again proven that it's not just about making cars that move fast, but it's about developing cars that are smarter, more efficient, and more powerful than we've ever had it. In many ways, the new engine is more than just a technological advancement, but a message to the car industry at large. General Motors is ready to lead, and the rest of the automotive world should be prepared. If they can't keep up, they may be left behind to chase a future General Motors had already built. The ZZ632 V8 is not just a powerful engine, but one that symbolizes the new and bold future of automotive engineering. The future of cars has arrived, and it's been powered by General Motors. As General Motors continues to innovate and push boundaries, who knows what the next big breakthrough will be? Car makers such as Jaguars, Chrysler, Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, Maserati, Opel, and Volvo have committed to fully going into electric models of cars by the end of the decade. Shockingly, Toyota's brand, Lexus, has also promised to stop selling vehicles with combustion engines by 2035.
So let me start by updating you on the status of a luxury brand, Lexus.
In Europe, some car makers have made plans to sell only EVs. For example, Mercedes has plans to switch entirely to electric in Europe by 2030, but only on the condition the market will be favorable.
Right here is the heart of our AMG, and this engine was actually built here in Affalterbach at our AMG headquarters, after the iconic principle, one man, one engine.
Mercedes' long rival Audi will stop the production of combustion engine cars by 2032. Volkswagen plans on producing EVs in Europe in 2033. This brings us to the question if these huge and successful brands are keen on taking the idea of shifting from combustion engine cars to electric models. Why is Toyota refusing to do the same? What impact will it have on the brand if they eventually start to produce electric cars?
Rare look at an electric car that has just 3 wheels.
The KPI X5's Betty Yu took the Toyota prototype for a test drive today. Check it out.
Toyota CEO Akito Toyoda had his view about the electric vehicle. He believed that the invention of battery electric vehicle is one of the numerous solutions to achieve carbon neutrality globally. As promising as that sounds, the reason why he can't fully commit to the production of electric cars. Reason being that the charging infrastructure of these vehicles will be a constraint to Toyota users. Statistically, around 1 billion people globally do not have access to constant electricity, which is a major source of power for these vehicles. In these areas, Toyota's products are in great demand. For Toyota, switching from combustion engines to electric models wouldn't be a great idea, hence the investment in making engines powered by hydrogen. A unique model of an engine that Toyota is sure would be of greater value, use, investment, and profit to users generally. This brings us to another question. Is a hydrogen engine a better option? How does it work?
Especially with a direct injection system, which is spray-guided, and a bi-turbo system, which reacts as fast as lightning.
What are the advantages it has over electric vehicles? How does the Toyota hydrogen engine work? By transcending existing fuel technologies through electrolysis, this happens in real time to create a self-sustaining cycle. Unlike the traditional hydrogen vehicles, which require cumbersome high-pressure storage tanks, the hydrogen engine employs a water tank equipped with electrodes. The moment these electrodes receive a higher voltage, they immediately separate water into its basic element, which is hydrogen and oxygen, the elements which come together and are responsible for making water solutions.
So the idea is, what if instead of making a whole bunch of new electric cars, we instead took the combustion cars that we already have built and converted them to hydrogen-based fuels?
After the hydrogen is isolated, it is then directed into the combustion chambers where it ignites, replicating how natural gases ignite. The eco-conscious implications of this innovation could be placed next to transformative, as when this engine is running, it emits near or zero emissions. Even the most advanced electric engines and vehicles haven't gotten this feature yet.
Now, we need to discuss emissions because it's not quite as simple as you take oxygen and hydrogen and then out comes water. So, of course, air has nitrogen.
This feat alone shows reasons why Toyota's CEO boasted about this engine putting out electric cars. It sidesteps environmental repercussions associated with extracting rare earth metals for batteries and oil consumption from traditional engines. Incredible, right? These new engines might just be revolutionary in the automobile world. Now, beyond its ecological virtues, the hydrogen engine is user-friendly. A vehicle with this engine can be refueled with distilled water, a resource that is easy to come by and in plenty of abundance. This is in stark contrast to the logistical complexity of charging electric vehicles or even the refueling of hydrogen cars. This engine is promising especially to the environment. It produces nearly zero emissions, rivaling EVs, but offering greater convenience. The engine is able to refuel from any source of diluted water. This engine sidesteps the logistic complications attached to hydrogen-based vehicles, traditional engines, and EVs. When compared to hydrogen engines and heavy FCVs, the Toyota water engine stands out as an eco-friendly marvel. Storing water is simple and inexpensive in stark contrast to hydrogen, which demands heavily armored, vigorously monitored tanks. The pure form of hydrogen is challenging to contain and prone to escape if there are any irregularities with the tank. The tank needs constant monitoring and maintenance. Meanwhile, a water-powered vehicle could use any plastic container as its storage tank. Additionally, storing hydrogen outside of a vehicle involves its own sets of challenges, requiring specific temperatures and steady leak-proof tanks, as hydrogen easily leaks. Distilled water, in contrast, is readily available in any store or supermarket and can even be produced at home using basic chemistry. The costliness of storing and producing hydrogen has impeded its widespread spread option, ultimately driving out consumer prices and undermining its viability as a long-term fuel alternative. While water engines might sound like a futuristic concept, they are poised to be eminently practical for everyday use. Contrary to some perceptions, these engines are not lacking in power. They can match the power and performance of conventional gasoline engines and surpass them. Water engines have the capability to generate 3 times energy compared to gasoline counterparts. This is another feat that is seen to possibly put electric and traditional engines under the radar as these new engines make their way into the automobile market. A revolution we cannot wait to befall upon, as with each passing day. What makes this new engine stand out? Other than being an innovation by Toyota, along with it being powered by water, the hydrogen power engines can match the performance of their gasoline counterparts due to hydrogen's unique nature as a fuel. This is because when hydrogen burns, it does faster than fuel, resulting in rapid combustion that enhances the engine rapidness, which is critical for driving. When drivers use traditional engines, immediately they press down on the accelerator. They expect an immediate throttle response, a distinctive engine sound with a sense of power. Toyota has been able to replicate the same features and characteristics on this new hydrogen engine, while using a cleaner fuel, making this unique engine stand out amongst others, which means users who might migrate from either electric engines or traditional engines wouldn't see a significant change negatively when using the new Toyota's engine, as it'll still be able to reenact the nostalgic feeling of traditional and electric vehicles while driving. Toyota has also conducted numerous vigorous tests to show that the new hydrogen engine can compete with traditional engines, as many drivers would have preferred. The test was able to showcase that Toyota's new hydrogen engine can compete with traditional engines and even traditional racing cars in terms of endurance, speed, and agility. Toyota's 4A has been able to yield promising results by modifying and refining existing engine design to be able to accommodate hydrogen fuel, achieving power input that rivals and exceeds that of conventional gasoline engines. Toyota has merged the dynamics of traditional combustion engines with the use of a cleaner fuel source. Whether on the racetrack or for day-to-day activities, Toyota has ensured that its new engine delivers the performance, sensation, and enjoyment that driver expects from traditional engines. When comparing water engines to fossil fuel engines would give a clearer reason as to why this new engine is breaking the bounds in the automotive industry. Water is more potent than regular gasoline as a fuel source. Putting this in practice, a liter of water can produce around 90 to 96 megajoules of power, whereby a liter of fuel produces only 29 megajoules of energy. This is 4 times less than what is being generated by water engines. Before you get all hyped up about getting a hyper-hydrogen vehicle, you should know that is not going to be the case in all vehicles. Of course, the cars will have enough power to meet the needs of most people, but it isn't going to be like a race car hitting over 180 miles per hour, but it will be able to generate power to satisfy most people's needs. Another thing is that internal combustion engine produces all sorts of toxic emissions, the most notable of which is the extreme amount of carbon dioxide, whereas the water power engine produces only water vapor, which causes next to zero emission, making the water engine a blessing we have all been waiting for in the automobile industry. Utilizing water as a way of fueling the car is simply much better from a pragmatic standpoint. Water is considerably cheaper than gasoline and diesel, making the car as economical as an EV. Benefits of hydro engines. When talking about the benefits of hydro engines, one characteristic that must be mentioned is how much of an impact it has on the environment. They are also in no way dependent on the electric grid. The electric grid, as we all know, uses fossil fuels to produce electric energy. This new engine has been able to curb these needs in traditional engines out of its reasons to work efficiently. Electric vehicles, when taken a closer look, are just too expensive and unaffordable by the masses. Majorly, they can't even be afforded for any utilitarian use, unlike traditional combustion engines, as most of them are considered to be luxury cars by the price tags alone. In the case of this new hydro engine, you don't need the hydrogen to be pre-separated from the oxygen, making the entire process cheaper and convenient on a convenient scale, which is another benefit users are going to be taken advantage of when this new engine starts to flood the automotive markets. Another overlooked benefit of the hydro engine is the ability to fill up its tanks in a matter of minutes with a far-range drive compared to the traditional engines can offer. However, there are several drawbacks as well, as not everyone is convinced that this is a technology that can be used on a large scale and requires several improvements before it can be used. In developing these new engines, Toyota considers the numerous fascinating environmental benefits of hydrogen. What could these environmental benefits be? Toyota's focus on eco-friendly technologies highlights the intriguing proposition of hydrogen-powered internal combustion engines. Questions about how these engines compared environmentally to hybrid electric vehicles and what sets hydrogen engines apart in terms of environmental impact have been answered by a recent explanation of the environmental benefits of hydrogen engines, which is the emission of the hydrogen engine when in use, which differs significantly in the case of traditional fuel engines, as these engines release carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide that is released is known as a greenhouse gas that contributes to global warming, while Toyota's hydrogen engine produces zero emissions when in function. When these hydrogen engines are in use, they release water vapor from their exhaust, which is usually clean and has no foul impact on the environment and globally at large. Achieving such minimal environmental impact is possible due to the unique combustion process of these engines. If we go back to our prelim school days, we know that a combination of hydrogen molecules and oxygen molecules would result in a formula called H2O, which is water. This exact process is simply what happens when these hydrogen engines are in uses. The hydrogen fuel reacts with oxygen in the air to generate energy, thereby leading to water vapor as its byproduct. Another benefit of this engine is that hydrogen has a high energy density, which means it can store a lot of energy in a small volume in comparison to traditional engines. Hydrogen can also be produced from renewable sources such as wind, solar, or hydropower, making it a clean and sustainable energy source. Challenges and safety concerns with hydrogen technology. Even with the hydrogen engine being one of the latest and most promising technologies to be invented in vehicles, it has its pros which we can't overlook.
And now we are down to well under 10% full of hydrogen. I want to say state of charge, but this is all new to me.
These factors are ones to consider before deciding on acquiring vehicles accustomed to hydrogen. You might think the challenges associated with hydrogen might not be as bad as the traditional engine vehicles. What are your guesses? Wait till you hear some of the challenges associated with hydrogen technology. Hydrogen has high flammability, making it a potentially risky fuel to handle. And that's why Toyota is addressing this concern through meticulous engineering and strict safety protocols by developing large containers that will be used for storing hydrogen fuel. They have also designed an advanced sensor technology to detect leaks, as hydrogen is hard to detect. Users and drivers also have to be careful when handling hydrogen, as it can easily pose risks, such as when mishandled. The storing of hydrogen is complicated, complex, and expensive due to its physical properties. Hydrogen also has a low energy density by volume, necessitating storage at very high pressures at up to 700 bars or at cryogenic temperatures below -253 degrees Celsius. Transporting this hydrogen also poses challenges, as new pipelines will need to be constructed from materials resistant to hydrogen embrittlement, and transport by road requires specialized, pressurized containers. These are factors that need to be checked before the transportation of hydrogen from one place to another can be done. Additionally, hydrogen is colorless and odorless, making leaks hard to detect without specialized sensors. Ensuring safety requires rigorous standards and protocols, including continuous monitoring systems and robust leak detection technologies. This is why before these hydrogen engines are passed down into the automobile market, people must have immense knowledge on how to handle, transport, and store this hydrogen safely to minimize accidents. However, the majority of these potential users have no prior knowledge whatsoever on how to properly handle hydrogen. This is where another constraint occurs, as having to educate the masses on these innovations properly will take a whole lot of investment in infrastructures and time. These are a few hurdles Toyota would have to overcome if looking to bring this new engine to the limelight, before fully unleashing the potential of the technology. To make things less strenuous for the company, Toyota would have to collaborate with other sectors in the environment, such as governments, schools, businesses, and education. With this strategy, Toyota will be able to reach several people and spread viable information amongst people, ensuring a risk-free environment. The conundrum of hydro engine. Since there are so many benefits that arise from using water engines, you might be asking yourself questions like, when will see the widespread adoption of this revolutionary water engine? Even though this invention is extremely impressive, we should know that Toyota's innovations aren't the first of its kind. Water engines such as this have been designed in the past. However, for some reason they don't get funded and are completely overlooked. Reasons like this idea were either brought by an individual or a smaller company at that time, and the automobile industry chose to give it little or no attention. The first properly functional water-powered vehicle was designed in the year 1998. This car was similar to Kissame's own 405, which was made in fairly rudimental conditions. Developed in the late 1990s, this vehicle was just a one-off prototype that was fitted with a water-powered design. The buggy was designed and developed by Stanley Allen Meyer. Allen had made comments on numerous occasions, said both car and oil companies threatened him and tried to pressure him to destroy the vehicles. Allen also added that he was offered millions of dollars to destroy all evidence leading to this water-powered engine showing it existed. However, he didn't back down and was very vocal in his fight against these companies. Unfortunately, in 1998, Meyer mysteriously passed away from an alleged brain aneurysm. Suspicious, you might say. But that's not all. Wait for it. All this happened when Allen was having dinner with his brother and two Belgian businessmen who were interested in his invention. As Allen sipped his cranberry juice, he immediately felt some type of discomfort in his throat and dashed out of the restaurant with his brother right behind him. Meyer told his brother a moment before his death that he was poisoned by these two businessmen. In addition to this sinister move, months after his death, Meyer's garage was rummaged through by an unidentified assailant, where the car he had developed alongside most of his schematic and tools were stolen. Irrespective of your thoughts after coming to this information, we are not saying this oil company was after him, as we do not know if Meyer's pre-mortem allegations were through. It is also possible that Meyer and his brother might as well be chasing publicity with these allegations. However, we must admit the conditions that surround his passing are very strange and hard not to point fingers at the oil companies. In Pakistan, a scientist who goes by the name Aga Waqar Ahmed developed a similar design of the hydro engine as Allen's initial design, which was fully functional. Unfortunately, he also got shut down, but surprisingly, it was by Pakistani's former Minister of Science and Technology. Ata-ur-Rahman was the man responsible for this move. He dismissed the project, stating that such an invention can't be made to function. Even if someone did mention such an engine to design, they would be violating laws of conservation. As much as we want to see the water engine come alive as something more than just a mere concept, the automotive industry, for one reason or another, keeps delaying and shutting the notion down. This might be the case for decades until a luxurious car brand steps up to back the idea and help in designing it. Toyota's new vision of a hydro engine seems like a preferable option, but looking at the details, there are lapses to cover. Will this new engine put electric cars out, or will it be shut down like the ones before? Subscribe to our channel for more content like this.